family, this is your boy, Wolf Rock, aka Wolf Rock Trucking. Welcome to another episode of Swift Trucking. I wanted to give you guys a little bit of an update of what's been going on in the wonderful world of Swift. We're going to be talking about this, my first month with Swift, and what your expectations levels are. Tell you a couple things that has happened during that time that I've been with Swift for the last 30 days. Kind of gives you a little bit of an idea of what to expect. All right. You got your truck. You've got your CDL. You've gone through orientation. You've gone through your mentorship. And you got your truck. Now what? So now you actually have to get on the road and actually do the job that you have been trained for. And is it going to be all roses and cream pies and butterflies? No, not necessarily. You will struggle. You will have issues. You're going to have problems. You're going to run into situations. So let me tell you my first week. My very first week with Swift, I had some challenges. Lots of challenges, actually. One, learning the truck and how the truck drives. Stepping on the brake and feeling comfortable of how the truck reacts when you're stepping on the brake. Also, feeling the load and how much weight you have. Making sure that the weight is distributed correctly in the truck as well. Making sure that you're logged in properly through your Zonar app. Making sure that the direction that you're going is the right direction. Making sure that the GPS is taking you the right direction. Making sure you have all your documentations when you get to your shipper. Making sure that you have the proper seal. Making sure you've done your pre-trip. And the list goes on. This goes on for a while. There's a lot more involved. So my thing that I'm going to encourage you guys is take it slow. Go step by step. Take the training that you've had and put it into good practice. And then remember this. Bad habits, if you start out with the bad habits, you're going to keep doing those bad habits and they're going to become part of your daily routine. If you get anything out of everything I've said to you guys, get into good habits. Start with good habits. Get a process, get a routine that is good habits. And don't deviate for no reason. Don't deviate from your habits. Because once you start deviating once, it's going to be twice and 3 times and 4 times. So make sure you get yourself a good habit when you first start out with trucking. So let me tell you my first week. We're going to go cover a lot of things in the next couple of weeks. I'm going to be doing it in my truck. We're going to go over pre-trip. We're going to talk about clocks. What is a clock? We're going to talk about going to backing up, how to back up properly, because everybody does it differently. Also, just the life on the road and seeing what it really is to be on the road and what to expect. We're going to do a little cooking inside the truck as well, so you can see how we eat. There's a lot of things. This month has been really rough because I didn't want to do any videos until I felt comfortable enough to know what to expect and what the expectation levels were. And I felt that would be a lot better than me trying to go through the process of going, I don't know, and let's figure this out. I think it's better that I did it in the first month. So let me show you my first week. Week 1 of the 4 weeks. First 4 weeks. Number 1 is they gave me a load that went from Salt Lake City to Ogden. That was my first load. Then I went from Ogden to Kuna, Idaho, and then from Kuna, Idaho to Fresno, California. That was my first loads. So I get first load, no issues. I get there, not a problem. Everything's fine on my very first load to get to Ogden. When I go from Ogden to Kuna, Idaho, I ran into a couple problems. So the first problem was GPS didn't take me the right direction. And I did pre-trip, so I knew where I was supposed to go based on looking at the map and knowing which direction and which roads I was going to take. But the GPS told me to go totally different than what I was expecting. So knowing that I knew before I started, I knew which way it was. So that was problem number 1. Good thing I didn't follow the GPS, because if I did, I would have gone the wrong direction. So everything was good. I was going the right direction at that point because I knew it was right. GPS recalibrated to where I was going, which was correct. I get to my second stop actually. It's a meat processing place. I get there, and they tell me to sit and wait until door number one. They said about 10 minutes, they'll pull the trailer out. You can go to door number one. Great. Perfect. 3 hours later, the truck's still there. The trailer's still there that they said they were supposed to be pulled. So I go back into the receiving office, and sure enough, they said, it'll be another 10 minutes. Okay. All right. I'm not upset because it's part of the nature of the business and I get it. So I go back to my truck, and still waiting. And we're going to talk about clocks. And remember this story. You understand why the importance of managing your time is so important. So I get my truck. Another hour goes by. Finally, the trailer gets pulled out. I turn around back into the spot of door number one. I got all my doors. Slide my tandems back like you're supposed to. Get into the dock. I'm ready to go. I unhook my airlines. They lock my airlines so that I can't go anywhere. No problem. Another hour goes by. They still haven't loaded me. Now I'm already at 5 hours at this point, and I'm getting a little worried because my clock, my 14-hour clock is running, and I can't stop that. That just goes and goes. And if that runs out, I'm done for the day. So I'm a little stressed out a little bit, and so I'm looking at my schedule, reprioritizing my plan of where I need to stop before my 14-hour clock. So if it was another 2 hours, I need to be at this location. If it's another hour, I'm at this location. I was planning on where to stop. It's super important that you guys plan your trip before you take off. Know where everything is, where locations are, where truck stops are, where you're going to stop to rest, where you can go to bathroom, where you can get food if you don't have food in your truck, where you can rest safely without being in danger. So there's a lot of things that goes on during this process. So then I finally it's now 6.5 hours later. They finally start loading me. It takes them another hour, so now I'm at 7.5 hours. I finally get all the paperwork and I leave. So it's a bad start to my second load for Swift. I get the load, finally get out, I take off, and I'm off. I have exactly 2 hours and 12 minutes left on my 14-hour clock. This, for terminology, this really sucks because you need all your time to go as far as you can go. Now, I planned it that I knew that in 2 hours I could get to set location. What I didn't account for was for traffic. And if there's traffic, your 14-hour clock still goes, but your time dwindles. So I didn't make it to my stop that I wanted to stop at because I had traffic. I didn't make it. I would have been off. I found a rest stop, thank goodness. I did pull off and got into a rest stop, and I was able to do my 10-hour, and again, this is something we'll talk about, my 10-hour clock, and I had to wait 10 hours before I can roll again. So now this puts me behind schedule by 6 hours because the 7 hours I lost and the 6 hours that I had planned originally, gave myself an hour at that shipper, actually took me a lot longer. So I had to put in for a late call because I was not going to be on time for my delivery in Fresno. Again, these are the things of trucking that happens. So I finally got to Fresno the next day, no problem, unhitch. Before I leave, because I didn't follow my process correctly, we have a thing called enforcer locks. The enforcer locks are about this big. They are designed to keep secure loads in the back. Nobody can get into them. You'll need a torch to actually cut that lock. That's how tough these locks are. I realized I left it on the trailer. Yeah, I did a rookie mistake. But thankfulness, before I left, I went through my checklist and I realized that I had not taken off the enforcer lock. And I remember that I didn't do a certain macro for my log too. Again, these are all new processes that I had to learn. So I finally got out of the truck, went back, took out the lock off, thank goodness. Redid all the macros that I was supposed to do. These are learning curves for me for this for Swift that I didn't know. Got all the processes done, and I was off. I was off from that particular shipper, and I was off to my next delivery. From there, I ended up going to Lathrop, California, to pick up another delivery that was at a terminal, and taking that one to Casa Grande, Arizona. And so I had to go basically kind of do a loop, sort of loop around, I guess you want to call it that. So I did all that. My first week and a half actually was doing this little run that I was doing because I was having issues. So I get to my third stop. Before I get to my third stop, I'm going down Highway 99, and Lord and behold, I get a blowout on my trailer, on the inner tire of my trailer. Big blowout. Freaked me out a little bit because truck had the road and on California Highway 99 is not really good. It's very divoted. There's a lot of holes. It's just a bad highway. And I know they're doing some construction to try to get it fixed, but it's pretty bad in California. So I get a blowout and pulling over in a somewhat safe area. Got the triangles out to let people know I'm broke down, and I end up calling for roadside assistance. 6 hours later, yes, you heard me, 6 hours later, roadside comes and fixes my tire, and I'm able to go. And mind you, I did a pre-trip and everything. The tire looked good. The outside looked a little rough on the inner tire, and I knew that. I notated in my log before when I did my pre-trip, but it would still had the right amount of tread in the center, and it's a retread tire, unfortunately. So you get what you get with some of those tires. And when you're putting 34,000 pounds per axle, yeah, you're gonna do something to the tire eventually if it's not properly managed. So long story short, get a blowout, get that. Guess what? I'm gonna be late for my next appointment again. So you guys see the process here. It's been really a challenge to my first week with Swift, or 2 weeks now with Swift. Towards the next week of that second week, things were going well. Everything was going good. My third week, it got better. My last week of that month was a little rough because I have a truck that needed to get maintenance at the 100,000 mile mark, and it was getting close to that 100,000 mile mark. Since it's a pretty new truck, guess what? I have to bring it into the West Valley Terminal, which is also my home time. So I didn't get as many loads this week on that particular week because I had to drop it off, and that it gave me an additional day off, basically. So that's kind of my month wrapped up in a nutshell. But I'm going to do a lot of short videos coming up. You'll see this one and one more that I will post that deals with your clock. What is a clock for truck drivers? It's a lot different than your watch. That's not the clock I'm talking about. And we'll talk about that. We'll also talk about pre-trip, understanding what truck drivers go through to have a good pre-trip and what that means. We're going to do it in stages so that we're not going to do it all at once. A good pre-trip is about 30 minutes. 40 if you take your time. But a good pre-trip is about a good 30 minutes. Most truck drivers, and I'll be very honest with you, most of them do not do a good pre-trip. They kick the tires and that's pretty much it. That's what I've seen a few of them do. They don't really go in depth. They don't check for damages. They don't check for anything that's wrong with the truck. That's given why some truck drivers get into accidents, or they get pulled over by DOT because they have issues with trailer or a light is out. There's a whole bunch of things that you can get pulled over for. So anyway, this is your boy, Wolf Rock, aka Wolf Rock Trucking. I hope you guys are getting some useful information, kind of give you an idea. This is just to give you what my first month with Swift is. Please ask any questions you want in the comments below. I'll be more than glad to answer them, whether I'll do it through a video or I do it through the comments. Please let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel so I can give more content. Also, this tells me if there's a desire for people to want to know what goes on in the truck driving world. Also, don't forget that starting now, I am actually going to be able to record more videos now that I've got a pretty good idea of what the expectation level is with Swift. So I appreciate your time. God bless you. And as always say here, let's roll. We'll talk to you guys later. Peace.